Welcome back, everybody, to Panache Productions. Will Nolan here, obviously joined with Charlie Nolan. Um, you're getting your first look at our podcast that'll now be a video cast style podcast. Like a lot of how a lot of the people in the hunt world, this is what they're doing now. So we're gonna join the trend. Let you see our faces. Let you see who's involved with us in these podcasts. See their faces. But this is the first episode of the 2025 Speaking Spring podcast series, which, if you followed along last year, is a huge deal to us. And we look forward to doing these video casts for the first time.
Super fun tonight. We're ready to hit the ground rolling. We got a lot of ideas for our podcast. We're going to try to put one out every week until turkey season, like we did last year, which means probably somewhere around 8 to 10 maybe podcasts or so. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
We really enjoy making these podcasts. We love just talking turkey hunting, and
that's all it is, man. It's talking turkey.
We're excited, so we got to talk to somebody. So we're gonna talk to this camera.
Yeah, it's a big deal for us. It's where we got our start. Obviously, last year before the hunting videos came along on our channel.
Which we're gonna cut y'all. We're gonna go in depth and talk about each episode throughout this podcast series and kind of
help you understand what's been going on.
Well, we're going to go through and talk about these videos and give an in-depth dive, to each episode. So you can go back and watch it and kind of have an understanding of what we did and why we did it. So this is probably the most excited I've been.
Yeah, it's like I said, I can't keep saying enough. This is awesome. Now to actually get in front of the camera and do these live video wise like this is pretty cool. It's a new season. New turkey season is coming up in a couple months.
I'm saying it means we're getting close to turkey season, which is
blood's pumping.
Super
it's year's 2025 is a brand new year. Hopefully full of a lot of obviously resolutions and
once Christmas is over and the new year turns, that's when everybody, including us, our mind immediately goes to springtime, warm weather, green leaves, birds chirping, and gobbling turkeys instantly. It's just where our mind naturally drifts. So no better way to get through that of what I would consider to be pain and torture for the next 2.5 months than to get on here and talk about turkey hunting. So
this is the rollover. This is where literally our complete calendar year Panache Productions and our channel.
That is crazy. I'm glad you brought that up. It's been a year.
Been a
year since we started doing this, and
couldn't have asked for a better first year of getting involved.
No, I don't want to get on here and brag, but I can kind of talk about, we got over 12,000 views. Did you see that coming? No. We got one video that had 7,000 views. Never could have dreamed.
And there are going to be some Debbie Downers out there that think that's not that impressive, and we're not doing this for accolades or to think that's cool. But
to us, that means
small town guys from a small town. Everybody knows everybody. I don't think we saw that. I didn't see that.
I thought we'd have about 20 subscribers after about a year, not 75, and have all the views we've gotten. And it's only up from here.
We know that the people that are following us up to this point are just truly people that care about us and that have the same passions and the same cares about turkey hunting and other hunting. And
we hope to grow it.
Yep.
We hope to continue to grow and pull people in, and we want to teach the right way of turkey hunting, and we want to show the highs and the lows of turkey hunting as we've always broadcasted and said we want to do. So to kind of start out this 2025 series of Speaking Spring, we want to kind of talk about the population issue, and we want to kind of talk about it because we filmed a video filmed it about 2 weeks ago, and I think it posted about a week and a half ago, talking about the new regulations and the new laws in South Carolina. And if you're unfamiliar with those,
not to cut you off, I didn't think to. It's a new year. A lot of changes each year in this world, in this country. There's new changes. Hopefully, I'm assuming for the most part our followers are the same political viewers as ourselves. Great things are ahead.
We got a lot of
country.
optimism for sure.
Great things are ahead for this country for 2025. For this type of world, as far as what we believe in and who we are in this hunting world and this hunting industry, a lot of good things ahead. So a lot of changes in 2025. Not to bring a spotlight on myself, but fiance might would kick me in the behind for not bringing it up. recently got engaged a couple months ago, and will be a married man in 6 months.
Well, a good thing about getting to this video cast, you can see that Will is he likes to move around a lot, but like I was saying, the new rule changed in South Carolina, new laws that came about. If you want to check those out in depth and kind of get our opinion on those, check out that video that was posted last week, talking about what changed and how we feel about it. So, and the reason I want to talk about this is we were going to film this video regardless. We do every year. We do an in-depth dive in population decline, and we do an in-depth dive as to why that's happening. But we got a little, I wouldn't call it backlash on the video, but I would call it opinion on the video. And that's the reason that video was posted. We want to hear people, we want to get opinion, and we want turkey hunters as a community to talk about these things, because same way as with politics, if two sides stop talking to one another, there becomes hatred and there becomes fighting and all that. We don't want that as turkey hunters. We want to be a community that understands one another and understands each other's belief. And I'm here today I got a lot of stuff I want to read off this piece of paper and present facts and just talk about the fact that there is a population decline, although there are naysayers and doubters. We know several ourselves personally. We know that we have people watching that don't believe. And I'm going to read you this, hopefully to change your mind, because these are statistics that are not that old. And like I said, I'll give you when the statistics were put out and kind of explain in depth what's going on with these. So the first little bit of statistics I'm going to give you are data points or whatever. It's off of YouTube. If you want to look it up, it's called Dr. Mike Chamberlain's State of the Wild Turkey. That was published in 2022, so it's only, 2-3 years old, so it's not out of date. This is real-time statistics that were put on here by the NWTF, who is obviously the most trustworthy organization when it comes to non-biased information. They have no ties to any state agency or whatever. So from the year 2014 to 2019, abundance of the wild turkey declined by 3%. Now, abundance means obviously how many turkeys there are, the abundance of turkeys. It declined by 3% in those years. And again, these are all studied by state agencies and that kind of thing, and published by the NWTF. Since 2004, the abundance of the wild turkey has declined 16%, and the highest number of decline occurred in Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Georgia. Now, Georgia, neighboring state to South Carolina, so that particularly hits home here. I'm going to read South Carolina's own statistics here in a minute, but that's obviously a glaring indication that we're losing turkeys.
Without a doubt, I said it all last year. Unfortunately, like you said, we can't seem to find a middle ground between right turkey hunters and wrong turkey hunters coming together and simply using the eyes that the Lord above gave you, the fingers that the Lord gave you, to type on Google this information. Use your eyes and read letters on the screen, and just simply use your brain to do research and understand that. And we know we don't contribute, killing turkeys is, contributing to losing them. But you can kill turkeys and continue to conserve turkeys and conserve the population if you do what you're supposed to do when you're not pulling the trigger.
And I want to point out something. Obviously, we're not biologists, but I do want to say this because I think this does have some validation in this argument. Me and Will hunted last year out of the 40-day turkey season in our state. We hunted all but 4 days, pretty much. We hunted every day, at least some point during the day, at least every day but 4 days. So we're seeing these things every day. It's not like we're hunting once every 3 weeks and we're going, yeah, well, there's not turkeys anymore.
Because we're not going and hunting the same exact 100-acre tract every single day.
We probably hunted last year 10 different properties. On each different property, there were misses, there were no turkeys, there were less turkeys, there were no hens, there were more turkeys. There's several things fluctuating here. We're going to talk about these things, but I just want to say that we're not biologists, but we're also not staying in the house March through April and sitting here on a computer and looking at all these things going, yeah, there's no turkeys. Because we were in the real world turkey hunting every single day, and we see all these statistics blatantly obvious to us. So another one here, between 2014 and 2019, harvest declined 12%. Okay, so that obviously means turkeys weren't being killed as much, which points directly to there being not as many turkeys. So, to compare that, in 2004, or since 2004, harvest has had a 19% decline. So, what that tells me is from 2004 to now, we've had a 90% decline, but in recent years, it's declined 12%, which means it's probably getting worse. Now, why is that? Well, we're going to talk about our opinion on why that's happened here in a minute, but this is more fact, not opinion. I'm going to read. In this same report here on YouTube that I watched, 22% of nests succeeded, which means around 80% of nests failed. So you say you got 5 hens that sit on a nest and bring these nests to be poults. One of those nests actually hatched out of those 5, 1 in 5 nests. I mean, that is glaringly bad, very bad. 35% brood success before a month old, which means a turkey hatches, there's only a 35% chance that turkey makes it to be a month old. A huge problem. Huge problem. I mean, there's no way around those. They're there for you to read. They're written in black and white. And again, there's no reason to make these statistics up. Nobody's gaining anything from it. So, that's what I wanted to point out when it comes to nationally the problem. And I'm going to read some of the South Carolina data points here. I'm going to pop these up on the screen. South Carolina has had more than a 40% decline in the last 2 decades. 40%. That is so bad. Some reports say we have 100,000 turkeys as of 2023. The most recent report that I read has South Carolina's turkey population around 81,500. Our peak for turkey population was in 2002 at 176,000. So in roughly 23 years, we've lost about half our population. Again, from 2002 to 2014, it went from 176,000 to, in 2019, 123,000. And then from 2019 to now, anywhere from 100,000 to 81,500. So another 20,000 turkeys lost in 5 years. In 2023 in the state of South Carolina, harvest was down 3.1%. Another glaring hole. And then this is what hunters believe. This is a pie chart, I'll pop that up. 65% of hunters say the population is decreasing. 10% of the population says it's increasing. I'd like to hunt where they're hunting. And around 25% of hunters think that the population is the same. And then 85% of hunters agree that there needs to be changes to our laws in South Carolina. And lastly, I want to pull this up, and we'll talk about this before. If you look at population charts or brood success charts or nesting charts, each year, all the way back to the 90s, you'll have a year of peak, 3 years of fall off, peak, fall off, peak. And each peak is smaller than the last peak, and it's slowly going down. These charts are glaringly obviously telling us we're losing turkeys, we're not making turkeys, and that's a huge problem. And we need to figure out why that is. I think we're going to talk about that. It's a lot of factors contributing at one time, but for all the naysayers and doubters, I want you to really listen to what I just said, because again, the first set of points were from 2022, and these recent South Carolina points were from last year or the year before. So it's not like this is stuff that was made 40 years ago and I'm lying and making it all up. These are the statistics that we're losing turkeys.
Yeah, it's extremely eye-opening. And I'm sure there's, people speculating like, man, y'all are a double standard. You go out here and you kill these turkeys, you're not contributing to it. And that really has nothing to do with what we're trying to get across to people. We don't want people to think is also that I bet people think literally, are y'all a bunch of tree huggers that are just trying to make sure nobody hunts and nobody kills an animal. Like, no, I mean, date back to the days of Native American, that's how a lot of people survive. That's how people eat. But we're not tree huggers. We do believe in conserving God's creation to a certain extent, making sure that we keep it around so that for generations to come, we still have it to take recreation and make it a hobby. But you have to do your part. It's not.
And I don't want to toot our own horn here. I'm not trying to brag and boast about anything. But I talk about it in the last video. For several years now, Will and I have not killed any more than 2 turkeys a year. And most of the time we kill 1 turkey a piece a year. And on certain properties, either we won't hunt them, or we won't kill them, or we won't kill but 1 on each property a piece. Because
knowing we have chances to kill
we
several
know
every year,
we know a property that's got probably $10 or $15 on it, but we refuse to kill more than 2 on that place because we know that if we go out there and we kill 5, that takes out half the gobbler population, or a third of the gobbler population, and we know that we don't have as many turkeys as we used to. I mean, Will and I can both admit to you, when we first started turkey hunting, we were covered in turkeys. I mean, I'm sure not like early in the 2000s covered in turkeys, but we had more turkeys than we did now. Now, it's about impossible to find a turkey. I mean, it is. You don't see turkeys.
I can guarantee you there's debates right now, there's questions right now about, well, why are they gone on your properties? Let me tell you, our properties are managed, burned. For the most part, we do our best to trap predators and to kill predators.
We very rarely ever see predation on our
But when we do,
rarely.
we kill them. But as far as like inhabitable, I'd say 95% of the property we hunt is completely habitable for turkey, because whether it's ourselves or landowners, we make sure that it is burned, it is managed. There are food plots. There's abundant food source. We do everything in our power to make sure that they aren't just completely scared off and just die.
And like I said,
but not everybody's doing that. Everybody is mainly doing
a lot of
yep. Pow.
And
Post this.
A lot of people,
yep. Pow. Post this.
A lot of people will immediately, and we're guilty of it, will immediately point to it's predation. It's 100% predation. It's because we got too many coyotes. Or some people will say, well, no, it ain't coyotes, but I can guarantee you 100% in my mind it's because there are no more hardwoods. Yeah, the problem isn't one thing. The problem is everything. There are several factors contributing to this.
And we're one of those factors.
We, as humans, yes, and we're going to talk about that. But we both have played football. Football's a relatable thing to a lot of people. If you call an inside zone football play, everybody has a job to do. If the left tackle and the right tackle fall on their face, and the quarterback fumbles the ball, you got 3 problems all at one time happening. And what's that going to do? It's going to cause the play to be completely screwed up. Or if you're playing baseball and your shortstop dives for the ball and misses it, and then the left fielder, he falls on his face too and trips in the mud and lands in a cow patty, you got a problem. You got a couple of contributing factors here. So the problem is with turkeys is there's several contributing factors happening, and it's all happening at one time. A turkey is probably the least adaptable. What's the word? I'm not a scientist if you can't tell. They can't adapt easily. Adaptive, yeah, something like that. I ain't a scientist. But my point is, turkeys are the least adaptive, one of the least adaptive animals. A squirrel can live in a tree in a person's backyard and never leave it and live the rest of his life. A deer can go live in a neighborhood and be perfectly fine.
And deer reproduce better than probably any wild game species.
A turkey can't. A turkey requires so many things that other animals don't, that they can't live that way. They just can't. Now, again, the contributing factors that are all working against turkeys include predation, whether that's coyotes, bobcats, foxes, or nest predators, coons, possums, and a lot of people don't understand this. A crow eats a turkey egg. You got to think about aerial predators, hawks, eagles, owls. They all eat turkeys. They all eat poults. Turkey, everything in the world can hunt a turkey. Everything in the world can't hunt a deer and kill it. An owl can't kill a deer. An owl can kill a turkey. Anything can kill a turkey. My God, I think at this point a rat can kill a turkey. So you got all those predators, nesting predators, all that. Then you've got habitat degradation. What does that mean? Well, you've got people that are cutting too many trees, and they're not planting them back, or they're cutting hardwoods and planting with pine. Pine is not beneficial to a turkey other than a roost. That's all a turkey can use pine for. But whether that's cutting trees and planting a subdivision in Somerville over them, that's degradation. All those turkeys got to find somewhere to live, and there's not suitable habitat anywhere. In the entire state of South Carolina, there's not a drop of suitable habitat for a wild turkey anymore. There is nowhere that is 100% suitable for a turkey anymore. Nowhere. That's just a fact. They do not have the things that they should have to live. Hardwoods, open areas, burned. In pine thickets, they're thick as they can be. They're not opened up like they need to get sunlight to the forest floor for forbs and that kind of thing. You got hunters, poachers, I should say, people that kill 5 turkeys when the season limit's 3. Now it's 2. Well, you know what I'm saying. Last year,
but it'll still be 5 for most people.
Yeah, it'll be 5 and 10. But there's so many factors contributing to it, and we can't point to one and say that's the cause because we don't know. All these factors are working against turkeys. Whereas deer, you got one thing. What is it? CWD, chronic waste disease.
But in South Carolina, that's not very much of a problem.
But that's the only thing that would be working against killing the deer's population. Deer have no threat to them right now. Turkeys have every threat to them. So for people that get on here and say, well, it's because DNR is burning in January instead of February. Well, you're wrong.
Look. Why you bring up the green jeans? Let me look. In this hunting world, you have your hunters and you have your DNR officers. Okay, well, DNR officers, they have a job to do. That's a fact. I'm not smooching up to them. You know, some things I always go extremely perfect with them. I've had my, instances where I get checked for something and it doesn't go as completely respectfully as it's supposed to, I guess you could say, or polite. But they have a job. They have guidelines they have to put in place and put into force, just like law enforcement. And a problem I see every day in the hunting world is everything is, for some reason, everybody wants to blame it on them. They're not doing this right. Well, it's because of them. Well, it's because they're actually trying to make sure that people don't do what they're not supposed to do to keep the turkey around.
I would go as far as to say if it wasn't for game wardens across America, we wouldn't have the wild turkey anymore because game wardens and
you have to work with them.
And regular everyday people took turkeys from Alabama or from Missouri or wherever and put them in places to thrive. That's how turkeys got repopulated. They didn't move. They didn't fly across the Mississippi River from New Mexico to cross the river to Ohio and say, I'm gonna live here. No, people took them from places and brought them here and repopulated these areas to the point where in the early 2000s, there were more turkeys than people knew what to do with. And then at that time when we started seeing them decline. Well, again, there is no glaring reason. We don't know the number one reason, but we know that there's a couple reasons working against them. And the best way to control turkey population is very simple. 1, burn your properties. Don't burn the entire property in 1 year now. Keep half your property thick for them to nest in. Keep half your property wide open for them to fly into, get away from stuff, and to roost in, and to strut in, and be open, and to have food. Burn your property. Trap predators. Don't just trap coyotes. Don't just trap foxes and bobcats.
This can plant.
I'm gonna get there. And then you got, shoot crows. I know people don't understand that, and I didn't know this till a year ago. Somebody told me about it, and I looked it up. It's true. Crows are one of the worst nesting predators because they will go in, they'll raid a nest, and they'll eat the eggs. Shoot crows. Obviously, you can't kill owls, hawks, and eagles, and please, for the love of God, do not do that. That's very irresponsible and un-American, if I do say so myself. But obviously,
a lot of predators you can kill.
A lot of other predators you can kill, exactly. And disc and plant. Give them food. Give them chew. Give them open areas. Go into your property. Take a little 5-acre spot of short pines and knock them down and disc it up and open it up for them to go into and live.
For bugs and
dude, there's so many things we can do better. And the number one thing we can do better is to follow the law. If your law says no reaping, don't do it. Regardless of if your opinion is you want to do it, I don't care. Don't do it. If you can kill 3 turkeys, kill 3. If you can kill 2, kill 2. If you can kill 12, I wouldn't kill 12, but don't kill. You know what I'm saying. My point is, follow the law. Don't be shooting them out of windows. Don't be shooting them off the highway. I mean, we've got to do better as turkey hunters, as conservationists, because there's nothing more important to me when it comes to turkeys than keeping turkeys around. And if that means not hunting turkeys for 5 years, so be it. That's where people need to understand. Quit being stingy, quit being greedy. Understand it's more important to keep turkeys around than it is to kill turkeys. And we lost this year again. We went from 3 in South Carolina to 2. Are me and Will happy or mad about that? I'm as tickled to death. I thought it should have been done.
Filled with joy.
No more Jakes. Tickled to death about it. Grown men that's killed turkeys should not be killing Jakes anyways. They're young turkeys. Give those turkeys a chance to get to the age to breed. Reaping and fanning, mostly in agreement with, although I think they do need to specify, can you hold it, can you not, can you stalk it. I've said this for years, I don't ever think stalking a turkey is the right way to do it. Just my opinion. I don't get enjoyment out of that. So, not as much as I do watching one come to me. But again, we're not here to be know-it-alls. We're not here to brag and boast and we know this and this is the right way. We're here to simply express our opinion on it. And unlike a lot of people that are, sorry to say this, but are backing their opinion by feeling and by what they've seen, we're backing our feelings by data points that are released by state agencies and by the NWTF, who I applaud, because without the NWTF, we wouldn't have wild turkeys anymore. And I know they work tirelessly to figure these things out.
Yeah. You're getting, what's the old saying, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's simple. Do your part. Pay attention to what's going on year in, year out, and just don't be that jerk.
Quit denying it.
That just is in complete denial, and you take your denial and then negatively impact the world of turkey hunters that truly care and are passionate about saving them and keeping them around for the future generations, which is what this particular page, show, whatever you want to call it, that's what this was centered around, was making sure that we educate how to save the wild turkey, how to hunt the wild turkey, so that future kids and grandkids and great-grands and great-great and so on and so forth, generations to come, have the luxury that we have. Because that luxury can turn into devastation in the blink of an eye if we don't get our, together and
Turkeys at one point were one of the closest animals to extinction, and we don't want that to happen. Again, I applaud South Carolina DNR, I applaud the NWTF, I applaud organizations like Turkeys for Tomorrow, the Pinhoti Project, and Spring Legion, all those kind of people that are on here spreading awareness about it and talking about it. It's uncomfortable to talk about. It's something that we don't like talking about, but it's something that has to be talked about. It's something that if we don't talk about, won't get fixed, and it'll cause a huge amount of friction in our community as turkey hunters. So it's important, and we need to open our eyes a little bit and get to work, just like people did in the 50s and 60s when turkeys were gone. They went to work. They didn't turkey hunt for 10 years, and they relocated turkeys, and they did what they had to do to make sure that they were around for us to enjoy. And the fact that we have people that are spoiling that is something I'll never understand. But hopefully we'll continue to do work and get it back where it needs to be. But we're going to move off of this subject now, more of a controversial subject, and get more into turkey hunting. And, do you have a particular episode you want to talk about? I know we kind of said chronologically. It's going to kind of be hard to do.
You know, I mean, we could start with our youth season hunts, but I'm sure we'll have Evan on for him to have a chance to talk about it. So I don't want to take that away.
Let's talk about the bird that you and I killed together that you ended up pulling the trigger on. I think I'm probably gonna title this part of this Gobbler of a Lifetime because it was, and we're gonna give an in-depth look at how we killed this turkey and you know, the days leading up to it or whatever, because
here's a picture
of the turkey
of this gobbler that really was a gobbler of a lifetime.
And I think it was episode 6. It's either 5, 6, or 7. I want to say 6. I know it wasn't the first 3. 4 ended up being Grayson's turkey.
5 was
Easter.
Hunting them on Easter.
I think 6.
6.
Pretty sure it was 6.
It was April the
2nd.
Was it 2nd or 3rd?
It was like the first few days of April. And this is when we really caught our stride. We were lucky enough to kill a turkey on Good Friday. We'll talk about that in another episode. But at this point, we got hot. And we stayed hot until the very last day of turkey season. And when I say hot, I'm talking about, I don't think there was very few days that went by that we didn't have a turkey within gun range or within 150 yards of us. I mean, we were constantly on turkeys. And again, he was the first one to kill a turkey. We'll talk about episode 2. Yours truly whiffed at a turkey, plenty inside of shooting range. So it was Will's turn to get on the gun. And, you know, even the way this hunt happened was just like our turkey season happened. It started out slow as it could be. The day before we killed this turkey, we roosted them. And when I say roosted, we were nowhere close to them, but we heard.
Knew where they were.
We knew where they were going to be. So we went in there that morning. It was you, me, and Wayne. Did Wayne hunt with us that morning? Wayne hunted with us that morning. We went in there, and it was the first, I remember you saying, it was the first perfect weather day we'd had at that point. It was cold in the morning, and by midday it was about 50 to 60. Perfect. Couldn't ask for any better weather. And my Lord, did they just burn it up in there that morning. I mean, just...
Yeah. As a turkey hunter, it's one of those mornings where, you know, you live for it. Especially when up until then it had been really low, very, not a lot of gobbling action. You know, it was enough to where it got a little bit more of a pep back in your step after getting down, probably had a miss, you know.
Finally killed one, and then we kind of were like, okay, we're hitting our stride. Yeah. Like we're getting to the point where, yeah, we're here. We're still doing it.
But like you said, it was our turkey season that morning. It was way up here,
and then
here, nap time, and then
right back.
We're going turkey hunting. Come back. Oh, Jim. A little Tony Romo CBS action.
And then bam, on top of the mountain. So, you know, that morning, like I said, they were just losing. There had to have been 5 or 6 birds in there. And we were probably 250 yards away from them. They hit the ground and just every crunch of the leaf, every acorn, every squirrel bark, every tweety bird, every owl, every cluck, every yelp, everything that made a noise, every turkey in the woods got one that morning. But we were a little confused about why these turkeys weren't coming to us. And I forgot about that. Yeah. We're going to talk about it. I just forgot about it.
We had a few that were on our property.
This ties in this ties in perfectly to what we were just talking about.
Yeah, it does. So, we had a few on our property that were gobbling, but the ones on our property kind of hit the ground and nothing else.
The ones on the neighboring property
that we were trying to call across the line to come on,
they were losing it. And we were so confused as to why in the world.
Why are they staying in one spot?
Yeah, they're gobbling. They may have a hen or two, but they ain't act like they got hens with them. I remember Wayne said, there's got to be a feeder over there or something. Like, there's got to be something fishy going on. So we left the woods with gobbling turkeys. We left when they were gone because we knew, give these turkeys a little bit of time. And by say we knew, Wayne told us, he said,
Wayne's been very adamant about this particular piece of property. I need to go hunt the afternoon, man. And I've never been one that's been big on hunting after 2 o'clock.
He told us, he said, come back in here, go take a nap, come back in here. He couldn't come back with us, unfortunately. He said, come back in here in a little while and give these birds a chance when they lose their hens. And I went and took a nap. I'm assuming you went and took a nap. I don't remember what else I did. I don't remember if I ate, if I did jumping jack. I don't remember. But I remember I woke up later than I was wanting to because I texted you about 4. And we were like, let's go. I mean, let's go try it. It's late, but let's go try it. We get in the wood about 5.
Yeah, we're walking into the woods about
5. And you talking about just pure T, not believing at all.
Yeah.
I could not have believed any less.
We're going to continue nap time on a tree.
Yeah, I did not think in any way that we were going to kill a turkey. I think it was a Sunday afternoon. What? It was Sunday. Pretty sure it was Sunday.
No,
was it a Sunday?
I think it was a Saturday.
It was a weekend. It was on the weekend. But
the weekend after Easter. Easter was that.
It was like
Easter was that Sunday before. Remember, I stayed the weekend in Andrews and then came home that Friday.
Yeah, that was the first day you'd been home. And anyways, we were going to the woods. Like I said, I've never been any less confident in my life. I'd have been more confident with 35-mile-an-hour winds pouring down rain to go in here turkey gobbling.
Instead, 60 degrees, no wind.
And now I think about it, why in the world were we so? So we go in there and I don't know. We sat there I hated our setup from the get-go. I hated it. I didn't like we were sitting. I didn't like what we were looking. I didn't like none of it. But we sat there for a little while. I was using a mouth call softly. I'm a soft caller in general. I wasn't blowing my reeds out. So yelping the medium volume and soft calling, and nothing was happening. I mean, it was like, man, I think we were watching baseball on the phone, if I'm not mistaken, and we were just.
And we were almost directly where we were sitting that morning where we had set up. We were
about 200 yards.
200 yards from it. But like you said, the setup was just.
Yeah.
If they didn't come to a exact spot, it was the worst setup ever.
So unoptimistic that I didn't even take the tripod in there. I just had the camera sitting on my lap. Huge mistake. I mean, just a boneheaded decision. And we're calling, we're watching baseball on our phone, and we're to the point where like we literally had to have literally just said, okay, let's go home. Like it's about 6:30 right now. Like it's about an hour till dark. Let's just go. I mean, we're not doing anything in here but making a bunch of racket. And Will pulled out the old slate call. And I think we both had to have fallen. It felt like we fell off a skyscraper when this happened, because I ain't never been awake that quick in my life.
That's turkey hunting. Highs and lows are happen like that, and when that high hits you, it just all starts happening so fast. I cranked down with some loud cuts on that glass, on that slate, and
we heard them, but it was like, each other was like.
Did we hear that? Because that's what not that it was that far. It was just more like,
did we?
Was that really just happened?
Because it's like in a 6:30. Like it's late.
It wasn't quite 6. It was like 5:45.
Well, we killed him. That's right. Well, that's what I'm saying. But it's still to the point in the day where you like, we're deer hunting at this point. Goodness. But we looked at each other and we were like, what's that?
And it sounded like a couple together. Yeah. It wasn't just one bird. At first, when that first gobble was a couple turkeys together.
And on this piece of property, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, when you hear a turkey on this piece of property, the last thing to do is get excited. Don't get excited. Don't in your right mind think that these turkeys are gonna come to you, because 9 times out of 10 they don't. They gobble and they will not move. Find out Find out later why that is.
Later, while wearing our waders.
Yeah, find out later why that is. But again, we were like, was that a turkey? And then he called again.
And he cut me off. And it was one gobble at that point. And put it down, and then he started, it was a couple together because turns out two of them came as a decoy, but one was doing all the gobbling.
And there was a couple behind them.
Once the two that gobbled first, once that one took charge and started gobbling, when I say gobble, I mean there's no calling, and he gobbled on his own literally about every 15 seconds while he was coming closer and closer to us. And as he was moving towards us, then 3 or 4 more farther off the property.
Pretty much.
He gobbled. He was pretty much on our property when we first heard him.
Yeah.
The other ones were deep across the property line, but they started picking their gobbling. I was like, man, it was long. We're gonna get ambushed by about 50 gobblers here. It seems like.
And again, at this point, we're optimistic, but cautiously optimistic, because again, this place is notorious for hot turkeys that won't come to you for nothing. So, we're quiet for a little while, and this turkey just keeps gobbling. He's getting closer and closer, and he got to the point where he got about 100 yards away and stopped. But he was gobbling, but he wasn't moving. And the best part about this turkey hunt was when you went to go pick your slate call up to call to him, and I said, no, don't let him think that we're here anymore. Let him come find us. And after about 5 minutes, he finally started coming again, but it was slow. Like, he was very, very cautious. And he was slowly coming, 10 yards. He got to about 70 and hung up again. So what I did was killed almost every single turkey in my lifetime. Was I scratched in the leaves for about 20 seconds, and I clucked and bird. And after that, bird went silent. Never made another noise again. And I think he went to go call again or something.
No, I wasn't calling anymore at that point. All I said was that.
You think he's hunting? You think he's?
Yeah, he got to like 60 yards, and he was at a point where we should have been seeing him, but you couldn't see him, and he just stayed there. And he actually started slowing. He wasn't gobbling as much.
Remember in like the last little while, he wasn't gobbling at all.
That's what I'm saying. He got there, and
I remember saying,
I remember you saying something about, has he moved something? I said, no, he's still directly in front of us.
And
you need to, I said, we need to do something to make him like commit and think that we're still here.
And I clucked and purred.
And scratching the leaves.
And then that bird, again, he was still quiet. And I remember saying, you hear on the video, I remember saying, he's quiet, he's moving again. Because he gobbled it and scratched the leaves, and he went quiet again. And that's when I said, he's moving, he's coming. And I think, did I see him? I saw him first. You didn't see him until they were like really on top of us. I saw him coming.
You saw the strutter, but somehow you didn't see the gobbler in the front.
No, I saw the strutter coming about 30 yards away is when I first saw him. And I watched him come all the way up to the decoy right there in front of Will. And the rest is history. Didn't move a muscle. And then one of the coolest parts about this is his buddy.
Oh yeah.
I tried to get his buddy to come back.
He was on Boeing 587. He was booking it.
I was fighting and purring and trying my best to get this bird to come back, but all I saw was a net. He was gone. I mean, I've never seen a turkey move that fast in my life. He ran. Never flew. He just ran as fast as he could. And so
he caught him at the combine and did a 4.3,
which is great for his size, because they were both big birds.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was the 49ers drafted him.
Yeah.
Late second round. Really like the speed there.
But the strutter immediately, when we picked this bird up, or when Will picked this bird up, immediately knew something was off about him. And by off, I mean good. The Joker's head was the biggest head out of a turkey I've ever seen in my life. Bigger than Mr. Randy's decoy head, believe it or not. They like that big old head. But and I remember telling Will, like, well, that's a giant. And then about that time, as we were walking away, Will goes, God almighty, dude, this Joker's hurt my hand.
And he was huge. I mean, he was heavy.
I picked him up. I said, well, that turkey got to be 20 pounds, which is around here. 20-pound turkey is big.
Yeah, I mean, most people kill
About
17, 18.
Yeah,
18.
they're not very big around here, weight-wise. Well, we go home. I cleaned it. I took it and cleaned it for Will and cut everything off like he needed it. And took the legs off, the beard off, fan off. And out of just curiosity, I said, you know, let me weigh this joker. I want to know. I was like, all right, he probably weighs about 20 pounds. Joker weighed what, 26 and a half pounds? Or 25 and a half?
24 and a half.
Something like that.
It's 24 and a half because my mount says 24 and a half, and that's the Baldwin County record.
And you look, some places, the thing about it, some places say their state record's 24 and a half. Some places say the state record's 29 or something. But what I read, unofficially, from what I looked at, according to the NWTF, unofficially, we broke the state record for weight.
Not total score.
No, total score was, turkey had good spurs and beard, but
just weight.
Weight, the turkey hit like a Midwest turkey. Like his, just, I've never seen a turkey. That's the first thing I noticed about the turkey, is how big his head was.
Well, what did you notice when you cut him open?
Well, you know, as Wayne alluded to at the beginning of the hunt in the morning time, he said, there's something fishy about these turkeys not moving. It's like they're on a feeder or something. Well, I'm cutting this turkey open. I get his breast out and his legs out. And I'm out of curiosity again, I go, you know what? I'm going to check this turkey and see what he's been eating. Because I got something. I got a feeling something's up. This turkey had easily 2 handfuls of corn in it. We wasn't feeding him. So obviously, neighboring property,
tampering,
was feeding him a little bit. I ain't gonna point fingers and say that that's what was going on, but that's what was going on. So, perfect tie-in to do the right thing and obey the law. That's why the turkey weighed 26 or whatever it was pounds, because he had been eating a healthy dose of corn for about 5 years. Because judging by his size, he was an older bird. He wasn't a youngin. So yeah, that was disappointing to see. I think I got a picture of that. I'll pop that up too if I got a picture, but I don't know for sure. And I do have a picture of the scale. It's got water in the scale, but you can see we're not lying about it. But we don't care about that kind of stuff. We thought it was just kind of a cool thing to share with friends and among ourselves, that hey, we unofficially broke the record, but you know, not something we'll talk about forever and brag about. So
it's just something you hold on to for a lifetime and tell your kids about. And
because he's a god over a lifetime. He was biggest turkey I've ever seen in my life. Around here,
average beard, you know, average decent spurs, whatnot, beautiful fan, but
it's massive.
I mean, he was a handful to carry. You might say, well, my God, you're weak, 24 pounds. No, it's just being a turkey hunter all those years. You're used to carrying 17, maybe 18-pound turkeys out of the field or out the woods.
It was noticeably
that
different.
Sucker there was noticeably huge and just heavy. He was a hoss.
And what killed that turkey was a combination of patience.
Combination of Dave Owens here.
No, I didn't call him in. It was just patience and calling at the right time. Because if we'd have called that turkey when he was that close with that slate call, he might not have came in. But doing the small things, and once he committed, let him do his job. Because we kind of had the idea he was committed, and once we knew he was committed, that was it. So that's what for sure killed him. We didn't need corn to kill him.
Some people do.
Some people do apparently, but so I think that'll wrap it up. Episode 1.
What a go! What a great way to start the New Year's podcast series off.
Hopefully we can get. We got a guest on here that we're guests that we want to get on here.
Yeah, we got several
guests, but we want to get. We turkey hunted with him last year, and he's full of knowledge. He's like a turkey encyclopedia. We want to get him on here and get him to sit down and share some words of wisdom and some stories with us, because I bet he's got plenty of turkey hunting stories to tell.
Man, I'm excited.
Plenty of them. And we may even ask him some questions or so about some instances of last season that happened. because it happens, if you know what I'm saying. But with that being said, we don't want to ruin it, talk about it too much. But
you'll see him on here eventually.
Hope y'all enjoyed it, and we'll catch y'all on the next episode.
Thank y'all.